Hi everyone, how are you? Today we're going to start with unit number 7, the last unit of this course. So, this unit is called Work-Life Balance. We are going to be learning about work and studies, and you are going to also learn to say how you spend your time in your normal life. Now, pay attention to the concept of work-life balance. Yes, which is something very, very important, especially nowadays in these times of pandemic, right? Because sometimes it's very difficult for us to balance what's work, right, or studies, and our regular life, our free time, right? So we're going to be discussing and using this concept a lot during this unit. Now, the first activity is about vocabularies, about work and studies. Some of these jobs are familiar to you because we have seen them in previous units, unit number 2 if I'm not mistaken, but some concepts might be new. So here we have some images that represent different jobs and study subjects or areas of study. Yes? So if you look at the concepts, you can find some relation, right? So we have the word an accountant, which is a job, right? And the studied subject that would be aligned with that job would be accounting. Yes? So what I want you to do is to have a look at the images and try to match them, each picture, to a job and a study subject. You can pause the video if you want. So let's see. In this first image, we have a computer, right, with some technical drawings, some graphs, right? So this would be related to the job of an engineer. Yes? The study subject would be engineering. Then for B, we have a book of accounts and a calculator, right? That would be the job of an accountant. The study subject is accounting. Then in letter C, we have a doctor. The area of study would be medicine. Then we have a chef or a cook. This is related to catering. And in the last one, that would be a musician. And the study subject is music. Yes? So what other jobs and subjects do you know? Try to think about your own area of interests, right? What you're starting to become. Now, let's go to page 145 to check more vocabulary. Okay, so here we have a big list or compilation of different jobs and some study subjects, right? The jobs are very familiar to you. We have accountants, architects, builders, IT technicians, plumbers, waiter, drivers, and so on, right? Now, the study subjects can be divided into different areas, right? So here we have some examples of art, humanities, and social science like literature, language, music, arts, maybe the culinary arts are part of this as well, right? Then we have some sciences, hard sciences, biology, chemistry, geography, mathematics. And then we have the more professional area in which we have things such as accounting, journalism, medicine, engineering, marketing, and so on. So a good activity is try to find each study subject, the study subject for each, each job, right? And how they can be related. One job can be related to more than one study subject. Now let's go back to the unit. Now here we have some questions that I hope you can answer, giving your opinion, right? here number 2. I'm sorry. It says, what jobs and subjects are good for people who like working with their hands or working with numbers, with words. So we can talk about maybe learning languages, right? For numbers, we're going to talk about accounting as well. Working with the hands. That could be doctors, musicians, artists. Now, what jobs are good for people who like thinking of new ideas or finding out new things, discovering things? And then we have working with people or helping people. Now let's continue. Here we have some expressions that we can use to talk about jobs and studies. Yes, and these are very, very common expressions. Now have a look at them and decide which sentences are about working and which ones are about studying. So first we have, I have a full-time job. So that would be about working. I am a doctor. That would be about working as well. Then we have, of course, I work for Alstom. I work at home, or I work in an office. Remember the different prepositions we use in different cases. When we use the name of the company, we use the word for. When we talk about being at home, that is a preposition we use. And you can say in an office, in a hospital, or in a different place, right? Number 4 says, I'm doing a part-time course in catering. So that would be about studies. Yes, the word part-time and full-time can both use to talk about jobs and studies as well. 5 says, I'm studying languages at Berlin University. So that is about studies. I look after my home. That is a job, right? I look after my home. I take care of my home. So I am at home doing housework, right? Chores. And the last one says, I'm unemployed. And this one is about working as well. Although the concept unemployed means that at the moment you don't have a job. A very hard reality, especially in those times, that makes us reflect a bit, right? That is the concept that we use, unemployed. Now here in the exercise B, we have some concepts, right, that can be used to replace these highlighted expressions. So please pause the video and find the best place in which you can use this word to replace another one. So for example, a bakery, that is a place, right? So that would be perfect for sentence number 3. You can say, I work in a bakery. Now do the rest, pause the video and come back once you're ready. So let's see. We have then the word a chef. So you can say, I am a chef, right? I am a chef. Then we have full-time. So you can say, I'm doing a full-time course in catering. A full-time course. I'm studying history at Berlin University. I look after my children. I have a part-time job. Number 1, I have a part-time job. And the last one would be, I am self-employed, right? That is the word we use for independent workers who are their own bosses, right? That is self-employed. Excellent. Now, your turn. Write 5 sentences about your work and studies now and in the past. So here we have an example. You can say, I worked in a bookshop when I was a student. That is about the past, right? Another example of my own life, I can say that when I was a student at university, I worked as a tourist guide. Now I work as a teacher of English at university. Maybe some of you have changed study programs and you study in a different university or a different program in the past, right? So try to think about that. Let's continue. Now, let's talk about work-life balance. We're going to do a short listening. We're going to be listening to some sounds from Pete's and Dagmara's lives. So we have two people. Try to guess what kind of work they do and what they do in their free time. All right, so you just guess.
Track 24.
Pete.
We've got for pudding.
Then the potatoes still
I've
haven't
got the
been
fruit
peeled.
salad on step.
All right, come on, you lot. We've got to serve it up by 1 o'clock, okay?
Yes, chef. Come on, Paul. Let's get.
Yes, chef. Dagmara.
Proponuję zmienić kurtynę na kolor czerwony. W każdym teatrze jest czarna kurtyna. Chciałabym wymienić tą właśnie na tą premierę. Tak.
Ok, pues repetir después de mí. ¿Dónde está el cine?
¿Dónde está el cine?
Muy bien.
Okay, now let's find out if your guesses are correct. We're going to be reading to Pete's text, right? And I'm going to leave you an access to, on the audio virtual, to Dagmara's case, right? So we're going to read this first, and you're going to let me know what kind of work does Pete do and what does he like to do in his free time. Yes, I'm going to be leaving you the text here. Please pause it, pay attention to the expressions, and come back to the video once you're ready with the reading. Okay, so are you ready? Now, what kind of work does Pete do? So we know that he is a catering assistant on an oil platform, right? So he has a work kind of like a chef. Yeah, so we knew that because of the listening as well, because we listened that he was in a kitchen. It sounded like a big kitchen with other people working, right? Now, what does he like to do in his free time? So we have some examples. In the listening, we were able to notice that he was watching a movie, but for the reading, we also know that he also goes to the gym and does weight training, right? He also likes to read at night. He sees his friends as well sometimes, right? And watches films, as we said before. Now here we have some questions that I want you to answer. Remember that you have to do the same with the other reading that is going to be on the aula virtual. Okay, so it says read the text again and answer this question. What does Pete do every single day? What does he do twice a week before going to sleep and every 2 weeks? So pause the video and answer these specific questions and come back so we can check together. Are you ready? Are you sure? Let's see. What does he do every day? So we know that he works 12 hours on and then 12 hours off, right? So every day he goes to work and he helps prepare 3 different meals, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 300 people. That's a lot, right? Imagine preparing breakfast, lunch, and dinner for all that amount of people. Now, number 2, what does he do twice a week? We have it here, right? So he says that he watches a film twice a week. Maybe twice a week. What about before he goes to sleep? The last thing he does, right, is to read or chat with his roommate for around an hour. Chat not necessarily means that you're talking on your phone, right, or on a virtual platform, but chat is having just a small conversation about life, right? A small chat. And what does he do every 2 weeks? He goes home, right? So he works on the platform for 2 weeks and then he has 2 weeks off, 2 weeks free in which he can travel home and take time for himself, see some friends, and that's it. Now do the same with the text of Dagmara, which is on the aula virtual. Now, let's talk about expressions, very common expressions used to talk about what things you do on a regular basis. Now here we have a very important word, that is the word spend. Yes? In Spanish, spend would be something like gastar. Yes? And we usually associate the word spend with money. You spend money when you buy things, right, in a shop or in a store. But you can also spend time. Yes, these are the 2 things that you can use with the verb spend. Spend money, or in this case, we're talking about spend time. And if you look at here, right, at this list or chart, we're going to divide the expressions that we can use with these verbs into 3 different categories. First, we have expressions with prepositions, like in the gym. These are going to be used to talk about places. Then we have words with ing, which are activities, right? Activities. And finally, we're going to be using expressions that start with when we talk about people. Yes? So it goes as follows. You use a subject, then the verb spend or don't spend if you want to use it in negative, right? And you're going to use time expressions. Specific times like 45 minutes, 1 hour, 3 hours, whatever, right? You can also use unspecific times like a lot of time, some time, yes. And then you can say time, right? Now, be careful because if you say I spend time in the gym, well, it doesn't say a lot about that, yes? But we usually use it with I don't spend. I don't spend time with my family. I don't spend time in the gym, yes? So be careful with the use of these expressions. Now, here we have, of course, more. What I want you to do is to classify them into these 3 categories, yeah? So we can know which expressions are of each type. Pause the video and then come back. Okay, so let's see. For the first category, we can say I spend 45 minutes in the gym, on the bus, at home, or at work, right? Then for activities, we spend a lot of time talking, sleeping, driving, watching TV. And then you can say, I don't spend time with my family, with friends, with my girlfriend or boyfriend, with my husband or wife. Yes? Very good. Now, write 3 sentences about a typical day in your life using the verb spend. Try to use each of these 3 categories. One for places, another one for activities, and another one for people. Now, finally, we have a last activity, which is kind of like a speaking, listening type. We're going to listen to Dorian, who works for a publisher and likes rowing in her free time. This is rowing, right? It would be something like remo, yes, this activity. Listen to her talking about her week. How much time, pay attention that we use how much time, because this is, right, an uncountable concept. We don't say how much time, we say how much time does she spend working, rowing, sleeping, and with her mates or friends, which is the same. And try to see if she's happy with her work-life balance or not. So let's listen.
Track 25.
I spend 35 hours a week at work, and I spent about 15 hours a week on the river rowing, and I sleep about 7.5, 8 hours a night. I need my sleep. And because I don't have any family here, they don't take up any time. And the rest of the time I spend with my mates.
Are you happy about that?
I am, actually. I would like to work a bit less, but who doesn't?
I see.
Okay, so let's check your answers. Remember that if you need to listen again, you can pause the video and go back. So number 1, how much time does you spend working? She says 35 hours a week. How much time does you spend rowing? That is 15 hours a week, right? Number 3, how much time does you spend sleeping? She says 7.5 hours, right? 7.5 to 8 hours a night or every night. And how much time does he spend with her friends? The rest of the time. She says that she didn't have family around, right? So she spent a lot of time with her friends. Is she happy with her work-life balance? She says she is happy, but she would like to work a bit less. Everyone wants that, right? Now, of course, it's your turn to talk about what you do on your typical week. How much do you spend doing different things, and what would you like to do more? What would you like to do less? So what I want you to do, I'm going to leave you a space in the Aula Virtual, a forum task, right? So you can write, maybe try to write a similar text like Pete, yes? Maybe what do you do for working or studying? Your time, the time for yourself, right? What do you do in the evenings before sleeping? You can use different categories or just write an entire text. Yes? So that is it for today. Remember that if you have any questions, you can contact me at my email as always, right? I try to answer as fast as possible. Now, that's it. Take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.